Hi everyone, my name is Huub Hildenbrand. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we will talk about the right hand technique, about tremolo, about fast play, about DiRi, DiRi, DiRi. So let's get right into the endless ocean of music. So today we talk about fast play, how to play fast, how to play tremolo, which is just a fast down-up movement. And in Indian music, tremolo is called Lari. And also in Indian music we use these syllables for down and up stroke in a quicker tempo, which are called not dara dara, but DiRi, DiRi. And we will go really deep into this technique of the right hand. And for this I also made myself a very strong coffee. And I'm sure by the end of the lesson you have I think this lesson will be a kind of a gold mine for guitarists who want to play fast and who also are thinking about technique, because we also learn a lot of things we have to really think about while practicing. So what makes a good practice actually? There are some criteria which are very important and often overlooked, and sometimes we practice and we don't get even further. Actually sometimes we're getting worse, and this we try to avoid by really looking at practicing and the right hand technique, the movements very into detail. One other thing, I thought about the right hand technique quite a lot, and for my approach, and everybody has a different approach, you know. I mean, every guitarist, they're doing a bit different movements here and there, and I also made this intermediate lesson where it's about the movements of the right hand, and you can check this out later. Where I'm also talking about that technique is something very personal. Actually, there is not the technique, there is not the music. I mean, it's all personal. It's all about how you want to sound like. And for myself, I was really inspired by different instruments like the rabab, the oud, the tar, and the sarod, for example. And in these kind of cultures, in these kind of musical styles, genres, you find a lot of tremolo, also the tar. It's a lot about tremolo, like making. Actually, the idea is maybe to overcome the limitations of a string which just fades away after it's plucked. So it's not a long. You can't play a long note, and you can't make a note louder and louder and louder, for example. But if you use like a tremolo technique, it gives you the feeling of it, and you can after you played the note, you can still form them and articulate them even more. So I really watched very closely these movements like oud players and sarod players, tar players, rabab players. What are they doing actually? And I found out that most of their movement is the rotation of the forearm. This kind of movement. Very strong with the rabab, where it's all, or like really where the wrist is really fixed and it's like kind of, you can say like a hammer or some tool, and you don't do any wrist movement. So you really don't do this. And this is also the case with tremolo, with a mandolin, for example. You also by bending the wrist actually. You only have the possibility to play from the forearm. Of course, you can also use the fingers, but the fingers are not really used for this. They are more used in different, maybe like I don't want to get into this stuff. We have a lot of stuff to cover today, so I will stay focused here. Okay, so I studied these different movements, and then I very quick I found out that I can't really bend my wrist so much. So what I did, I didn't bend it so much, but then the whole thing got a little bit of more loose in a way, less. There were just more movements possible. So I had to really clearly, for myself, made them very clear and try to avoid like this wrist movement. Actually, this is a movement what a lot of guitar teachers and a lot of guitarists actually use quite a lot, and some really almost only use this movement. But I for myself, I don't use it. I don't use this movement, and also this wrist, this rotation of the forearm movement gives me a very nice tone, a full tone. Also use a metal pick, so it's like I have a like. So this kind of a tone you would not get with a plastic pick, and you also would not get so much with this kind of movement. So I play with a round side, with a metal pick, and I use mainly this rotation of the forearm movement. So that's my technique, you can say. And I want to share this technique with you. And I thought a lot about, is this an advanced lesson? Is this really an intermediate lesson? And I thought for myself, actually, it's so basic that the movement of the right hand, and you should learn and you should practice and go into this deeper as early as possible. Not like have all this long way to the advanced materials, advanced techniques, advanced fast things to play, and then learn your technique like from scratch. You know, I mean, you should start as early as possible about it. But I didn't put it in a beginner's lesson, because as a beginner we are not really so clear about the whole movements and what to do. It's still a bit blurred and I mean not clear. I think we can really talk about the more subtle things. I studied the different movements of like players playing a sarod, an oud, tar, or a rabab, and it's always the same kind of movement they are doing. And because I like this music so much, I like this full this conception of this full tone of like, It's so strong. I feel it's so strong, and also with its resonance strings, it's a amazing, great concept of music. And so I really studied these movements, and also this kind of what they are doing. Actually, it's like incorporating these little like tremolo, DiRi movements into play just very naturally. It's not like, now I'm playing a tremolo. No, it's just very subtle use, like all the time in a way, and that's not very common in Western music. So this kind of playing like. This kind of a sound, but it's very. For me, it's really missing in other musics, in other, because it's such a great feature with string instrument, with plectrum instruments. This kind of a sound. Okay, so today I will really go into the subtleties, into how to play them, how to play this technique, how to practice this technique, and I show you all these devices, these practice devices, the practice tools, which you also can incorporate in your just general practice, also for other things. You will see. Okay, so the main movement is the rotation of the forearm, but the rotation of the forearm alone is not sufficient. If for example, if I go with my plectrum on a string, and I'm just doing this rotation, this happens. Or if I'm going from down under the string, it's like happening something like this. So I won't make it really to play the string, to strike the string. So another movement, another muscle work, another force is necessary, and this is actually the whole forearm. It's coming from the elbow, and so one conception is that it's just the elbow, the forearm must be just hold it tight. That this rotation movement is actually really having enough stability to make it to play the strings. But another conception I found out for myself is that I don't try to hold the muscles, to keep them stiff, you can say. I'm thinking more about if I play this rotation of the forearm, I also add some movement of the elbow. So I have this movement of the elbow and at the same time the rotation, and this as a large movement. If I make a large movement, this was possible to play it like this. And also because I'm not holding tight, like one to really hold this forearm and then having these rotations. Of course, you train your muscles, but you're training the wrong muscles to play really fast. You should always play in a loose way, and we come to this a little bit later. And by the way, there's a PDF for this lesson too. So if you go down in the description down below, there's a link which leads you on my website, Guitar-Academia, and there you can download the PDF for today's lesson. So you have this all in front of you, printed out, and also as a reference maybe for later. And I will this lesson I will just go through this file through the PDF and explain you all this all the details and how it's meant. Okay, so we are talking about the movement now. So the idea is to make a combination of the downward movement of the elbow and the rotation of the forearm, or if we go up, we make an upward movement with the elbow and have this rotation of the forearm. So actually our movement is like big. If we do it big, it's like this. So down rotation, up rotation, always this kind of a movement. And it's also a good idea to make these movements very clear to yourself, to make it very big. I mean, you can really like with one note, you can do like, you know, like this rotation, or like the forearm, the elbow. Yeah, so you can make these movements very clear to yourself by making them very large, so they become very obvious. Later on, we have a point, mental practice, mental play, and this is also a very powerful tool. Is actually to try to imagine the whole movement just in your head, just mentally, because mentally the brain will later lead. I mean, always will lead the hand and the arm and to play. So it should be very clear to the brain, to your head. So try really to imagine these movements mentally, like without doing them. Yeah, just how it feels like, what is happening, and actually playing these movements, playing this like fast DiRi, they become actually very tiny little movements. And for that, to really control them, you have to be really clear about the movement, that no other movements will show up which you don't want. So what I'm always thinking with these with these movements, because the DiRi movement is really like a combination of two movements. It's like the elbow and the rotation of the forearm, and these movements go together. And I always have a picture in mind. This is like actually the German term is Räuberleiter. It's like if there are two people and they want to climb a wall. Robbery ladder would be the English term. Like one guy down holds the other's leg or this other's foot and helps him to cross to go over the wall. And this kind of feeling I always have when practicing or playing this. It's like we have this top person. This is like the rotation of the forearm, and then we have the elbow, the whole arm actually, which is really helping this other tiny movement over the resistance of the string in this case. So I do the rotation, and the elbow is pushing this rotation movement over the string, so that the string is sounding. All right, and so I told you about this large movements, but also do like very tiny movements. Try to really make like very tiny movements. I mean, maybe without even playing the string, just in the air, just really tiny, like rotation, really tiny, like the whole arm, and to make it almost not happening. I learned about this awareness of movement by Moshe Feldenkrais, and he I also when I was in Boston at Berklee College of Music, we also had a a course with that, and we were like doing like different things and trying different movements, and very often making these movements very, very tiny, almost not perceptible. And this really makes with doing these movements, we can make us very, very conscious. We can get really clear about these tiny movements and movements in general. Especially if we just isolate one movement and make it very, 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 very small. And we really have to know what we should do. Try it for yourself. And please leave comments if you don't understand something or you need more help. Maybe I will do another to go more into detail lesson. I hope this will be sufficient. I try my best here to really explain you this stuff, but just let me know. Okay, and when playing actually, when playing fast, it feels like that these two movements, rotation of the forearm and elbow, are like equally there. They're like equal parts. And remember to make these movements themselves very, very little of rotation movement, like, and very little of elbow arm movement. And the necessary movement actually to really pass the string with that is only possible. Remember this, make this clear for yourself. It's only possible because of the combination of these two movements. So with just one movement alone, you would not travel enough distance to pass the string. So they are very slow. Not slow, not slow, of course, not, but very little. Okay, the practice beat. The speed is you should practice at different speeds. There is not the speed, or there is not like always practice at the speed you can, or like maximum speed or something like that. No, you should. It's like you have to be a scientist in a way. You have to do different things and to see what you are doing and what is happening. And is it getting easier when you think like that, or and these fast movements, the quick movements, are frequently or very often use them for learning what you are actually doing. So if you play fast, and even if it's not really like a good or perfect or very, how do you say, like a where you just really hit this string, maybe you hit some other strings, maybe it's not like really like very good, but still with a quick movements you can learn what is actually necessary for doing like quick movements. For example, if you always practice very slow, very big movements, it will not be possible to play these movements quick. You have to change the movements. You have to make them slow. You have to make them more little, more tiny, more smaller movements. And this, for example, you will see and you will learn if you just sometimes do some quick movements and see what you're actually doing. And then you take that and incorporate this in your slow practice. Okay, of course, quality of the tones. You should always strive for a good, controlled sound. That it's not like messy. It's not like too much. You know, like the strings are buzzing or whatever. It should be always a good tone, and really start. I mean, practice a lot, like very slow, but learn from the quick movements how the slow movements are going. And I of course I'm explaining you now what to do. So try this. Try to try to make these movements slow or even slower. Then make them smaller. Then you can also try to play a quicker movement. And then, for example, I recognize now when I'm doing a quicker movement, this part here has to be a little bit more stabilized, you can say. So there's a little bit more muscle work necessary than just playing very slow and soft. Yeah, like almost this part of my body don't recognize what I'm doing, that I'm doing something. Okay, another thing that there's like optional. I would not really now I would not really suggest this to you that you're actually doing this, but later on, or sometimes with like being a scientist, you can work with this, like starting very slow, very slow movements, and then just make them quicker if it feels good. If you're really feeling loose and it feels good, oh, I can play them a bit quicker, do it. And then stay on this speed. And then you find out, oh, this is now it's ready. I mean, you always, you try, you get quicker and then you feel a bit more tense. Then you try while playing to release the tension, to get more loose in a way, more relaxed. And then you feel, oh, I can play even quicker, and then you can build up speed like this. But be careful not to play too long one movement, because you tire your arm, you tire your muscles, and this is something you would not really you should not do actually. The other thing of playing fast is try to only sing the downstrokes. So if I just think da 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 da, and then I da 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 da, the upstroke comes by itself. So the ra movement I must do anyway to play another da movement. So this way you actually your brain is just thinking half speed, you can say. So it's easier to come up speed, but it's also not really, it's a bit like a second best version of playing quick DiRis. Now, point 3, watch out for relaxation. Relaxation is really necessary. Of course, you can't play anything, you can't do any movements completely relaxed. Of course not. You need always muscle work. But try to reduce it, and especially important is try to sense any unnecessary muscle work. And one amazing great tool to sense your relaxation, your level of relaxation, and to get more focused to relaxation and how it actually feels, is just very simple. You take out your plectrum and you go into the position of the right hand, playing the string actually, and then in one instant you drop it again and drop it, drop it. This way you feel the gravity, you follow the gravity, you get the feeling how the gravity actually pulls your arm, your hand down to the ground, to the floor. And this force, this gravity by itself, it's already way too much what you should use for playing these downstrokes. So this is actually quite interesting. Just doing this is already too much. too much muscle work. And also what's interesting, what you see if I'm doing this, it's exactly the right movement. The right movement I explained you in point 1. It's like the arm goes down and the hand, I mean the arm also rotates. So the hand is also rotating. See this? And if you do the same movement up, like rotation and moving up, that's actually the right movement already. Of course, way too large. So always try to you focus your awareness to your sensation of gravity, to your relaxation, and strive for a kind of a relaxed way of playing, just in general. And what does it mean? One thing you have to be aware of is that all these movements, they are not isolated. In the body, everything is connected. So also I read this interview with Pablo Casals, this great cellist, and he said, I'm thinking to also synchronize my and to coordinate my right and left while playing. I'm thinking to always play from the middle of the body. And for myself, I can really follow this. I feel the middle of the body is somewhere in the back, and everything I do is in a way coming from the middle of the body. So we are also talking about this muscle chain of muscles, like the fingers which hold the plectrum, to the wrist, to the arm, to the elbow, to the upper arm, to the shoulder, to the neck, and so on. This is like a muscle chain, and this is like all connected. Yeah? So the plectrum actually is really connected with your center of your body, in a way. And the best way to think is that there are no isolated movements, in a way. In a way, the whole muscle chain is also taking. Yeah, it's also taking part in the whole thing. So if I play like something more isolated, I play maybe like this. Yeah, so I try to now fix my forearm with the elbow and upper arm, and then I just try to do the rotation movement. And I can still do the same, but have this muscle chain more loose, and you will see that my whole body is in a way like swinging. It's swinging. It's moving. It's loose, you know. So for this, you should strive for this feeling. Is your body loose? You can always come back to this. You can do the exercise with the relaxation of the instant relaxation of the arm, of the hand, and also to make some little movements and to do some circles like this, or whatever. I mean, you can just be creative. I don't want to restrict yourself to certain things you should do and exercises. No, you should find yourself find out for yourself how what the sensation of relaxation is actually. One more thing. Oh yeah. One important thing, as I said, the whole body is in a way, it's one thing. Everything is connected. So be careful. Like a tense hand, a tense arm, or like pain somewhere can really be a result of a different area of your body. For example, if your shoulders and your neck is like stiff, if you're like you're always forced to play better than you can, then this happens, and maybe you do not really feel it here. Maybe it comes more into in different parts of your body. Because if it can happen, if something is more stiff, more tense, that the whole stiffness, the whole tension will travel all the way. And suddenly you feel, oh, your hand is really tight, or you're holding your pick just too much, you know? And so from the relaxation of your neck, of your shoulders, and the whole muscle chain, you should always refocus to your awareness to this kind of sensation, more relaxation. The body should really play relaxed, and it should be like a good feeling to play, to make music. Next thing, point 4, fast versus slow muscles. That's actually something I just learned recently, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, actually, that these exist. And this is like very important to know, really. It's like you have slow muscles and you have fast muscles. Slow muscles are muscles which are used for holding action, like hold something a long time, and really muscle work. If you really weightlifting or do this kind of stuff, you need these slow muscles. Fast muscles, they are needed for playing fast, for playing an instrument. Mostly these fast muscles are the muscles you should be aware of, you should train. And they are trained by with three things to keep in mind. One is play soft, the other thing is play fast, and the third thing, immediately relax after action. These 3 things, they will really make your practice very efficient. And I'm sure, almost, that you're not doing this. So this is like really important, really good to know. Practice soft, practice fast, and relax immediately after action. Of course, you also want to play more louder things. You want to, with some movements, with playing louder or longer. You also, and this is like a later point 5, stamina, is like, of course, you need also these slower muscles, and you need to have muscle power and force and endurance and all this stuff, but these are not really the muscles who do this fast work. So also play louder sometimes, but when you practice, try really to do this kind of thing. Later on page 4, we have this exercise. I'll show you now exercise 1. This is like this, the exercise you should do. And this is, the exercise goes like this. You practice 8 DiRi, and then DiRi. This whole thing like... That's the exercise. Stamina, quick but not loud play, and then relax on the DiRi. Instant muscle work, instant tension when you play, and instant relaxation when you just play. Tension, relax. Tension, relax. Tension, relax. And you can practice it like in a higher position, and then you also mute the string. So this way you mute actually the string which you just which you're playing, and you keep the other strings around, the adjacent strings adjacent strings, you keep them open. So when you play, you hear when you touch the other strings. So practice that you're not touching these strings. So the movements should be really really small to do this, and you should strive for that, because yeah, you really get an instant response if you touch another string by doing this. So this is really helpful. And also by pressing down the string here gets a little bit more down in the direction of the top of the body. So it's even a bit harder for the plectrum not to touch the other strings. And just in general, actually, mostly always play with fretted notes, because if you don't fret a note, it can happen that after a while you sit like this, you know, like completely out of your normal playing position, and then if you come back to the playing position, the whole thing is different again. So be careful that you always hold the guitar in the normal playing position, and for this it's a good idea to always also play something with your left hand. Okay, stamina, I just talked about this. It's important that you also watch out for the necessary tension. And with this exercise 1 I just showed you, you can really find out this tension, because if you need like tension and relaxation, if you play with this, more tension, more relaxation, you also learn what kind of attention is necessary. So you can really, how do you say? A bit before the necessary tension, the necessary action, when you play something quick, you can already put yourself into this feeling, into the position, into the necessary muscle work to stabilize all to stabilize the body, that it's possible to play this quick. So it's not coming like slowly and after a while, oh, now I have it. No, you really know what you need, and you learn with this technique, you really learn what you need, and then you can just apply it in an instant, just a bit before you actually play quick. Okay, about mental play, I talked already. Post-practice improvement, number 7. Your brain needs time to make new connections, learning something new. If you really learn something new, what you cannot do by now, you really have to learn it, like a language or whatever, and also like this technique. You have to make new connections in your brain. You have to learn something really new. It's not like you already know it, but just do it quicker or something like this, or you already know it and just need more muscles. You have to train your muscles, and then it will be possible. No, in this case, it's a new movement you're learning, and this reprogramming in your brain takes time, and actually this happens after practicing. When you rest, or I think all of you had this experience where you practice something and it didn't work, and you practice it again and it didn't work, and then you took some time off, one day, or maybe you went on vacations for 1 month, then you came back, and then suddenly it was possible. Suddenly you could do it. And this is actually very interesting, and also something you should be aware of, that to make this process happening. And it's not that it's with these new things. It's not that it's the goal of the practice session is that after the practice session or during this practice session you are able to do it. No, the goal is that you're really conscious about it, really concentrated, that your brain really learned how it should act, how it should work in a way, and then the brain can make these necessary connections this new movement needs. And one very good exercise to support this whole thing is to play at the end of the practice session, to play something very conscious and slow, that the brain has enough time to really follow the movement and to really feel how it goes. And also, if it's slow, you also learn relaxation. So you learn in a way a relaxed, very controlled playing, a very clear picture. So you really do just very, I mean, not extremely slow, but like this. So even smaller movements, slow, very relaxed, and really think about the different movements. Elbow, the rotation of the forearm, and try to really let go all unnecessary tension. Really play relaxed. Actually, sometimes you can also go slower if it's getting more clear by that. It can be a bit quicker, but don't force anything. Just learn this movement, how to execute this movement slow, relaxed, and with a very clear feeling, impression how it goes actually. And you do this for maybe 1 minute or so, and then that's it. That's a practice session. You can do this also later in the day if you want, but try this to make to do this, and then you will. I'm pretty sure then you will actually see results quite soon with this technique. So don't think you have to reach the goal now. Just think. Really be aware. Go your next step. Go to the next step. Really aware and focused and concentrated on the right thing. Really get more and more clear about this. And then one day you will be there. Trust me. Okay. I hope that's it for today. I hope you liked the lesson. If so, please subscribe to my channel. There's also a button on my website, guitar-academia.com. There you can support me by clicking this donate button. I would be really happy to go on with this project, Guitar Academia, and also spread the news and tell other friends who play guitar about this channel. I think it's very, very cool stuff here. Okay, so thanks for watching. My name is Hildenbrand.